Hello, everyone. My name is John, and I'm a Get More Math trainer. Welcome to this Get More Math exam challenge. Many of you I know have never created an exam. We wanted to make a video that allows you to be able to see what it looks like to create and give an exam, look at the data, look at corrections, how that works for your students, the follow-up that's automatically generated. And then there's going to be a checklist that you can go through. And once you complete that checklist, you can scan and submit that QR code, and you can be eligible to enter our $50 Amazon gift card drawing. We're going to give away 10 gift cards for this exam challenge. So welcome. Thank you for joining. Let's go ahead and jump into my screen now so I can show you what exams look like. Now I'm on my work tab, and as you can see on the left-hand side, if I open up these folders, you'll see all the different lessons that I've done for each of these. It's a good way to stay organized. But to create an exam, you can go here just like you do for assignments or creating a folder. Once I click create exam though, watch what happens to all my hard work on that left side. It goes away. Let's call this my Unit 5 exam. And so a lot of teachers think that they have to now just search for the skills within their grade level, what they want, but they don't have to do that. They can go right over here to my work. So you'll notice how I have it shown here. You can also, of course, as I'll show you later, you can also borrow from your colleagues if they have a test or a benchmark that you've created. But if I click on my work, now I can see that hard work that I've put in. I can go to my Unit 5, and it's just this easy. These lessons that I created, now I can copy over and I can make an exam from all of these skills that I put into my assignments throughout Unit 5. Okay. And notice I have 18 problems here so 1 point from each skill. You can always change the number of instances here. Maybe I want to make 2, maybe I want to make 3 here. That's really up to you. So now I have 22 problems on this exam. There are two options that you have. You can choose that all your students will get the same problems. If I do that, you can take a look at what this looks like here. This is the exact problem. So finding the exact problem that you want is easy. You just scroll through to find the one that you want. If that's the one you want, great. You can do that for number 2 because I do have 2 instances here. If this is the one I want right there, and you can do that for all of them if you'd like. Okay, so you can choose that everybody gets the same problem and that you can choose the exact problem. If you'd like, you can also choose that everybody gets random problems. So if I click here, now you notice the difference is it says random sample here because now the problems will be dynamically generated. So student A won't see the same thing as student B. Right? I'm going to keep it though, that everybody gets the same problem. So when I click save, now I have the option to print as well. So I can print the exact exam or practice exam. So if you do choose that option where it says that each student gets the same problems, you will have the option to choose the exact exam as well here. Okay, so the print option is in play here. And then if I click publish, I can shuffle the problems. So if you hover over the question marks, it tells you exactly what it does. So maybe you want to shuffle for a couple of periods here and publish it for all of your periods. Okay, and then you can just click publish. Now, that test is not in my students' hands yet, and it won't be until I make it available to them. If I do want my students to be able to get right into the exam, I just go to the exams that I created. Here's that Unit 5 exam. Okay, now, if a student wants to see it in their menu, this option will be on automatically. But if you want to make it so that students can access the test, it's right here. You can change this to any time that you want them to be able to have the opportunity to get into that exam. You can change that time. You can't schedule an exam and Get More Math, but you can change the window of opportunity for them to access it. So you can set that. Now they have the time that you've set for them to be able to access the exam. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like from the student's point of view then. Now I'm back on the student screen. And as a student answers questions, this is unlike when they're answering questions for their assignments. They're not going to get smiley faces that fall or crowns that fall. What happens is when they answer a question, they will get a little blue diamond inside of that question box. And that just says that they answered a question. It's a valid answer. And then they moved on to the next one. And you can see I'm doing that here. I'll get this one purposely wrong just to show you. Let's just say 1 for an answer. You'll see that it's the same exact feedback that I get. It's just this blue diamond. Once a student is finished with the exam, They're going to get an exam warning. If they have any missing work, this will be a red box that says, hey, you missed problem number 12 or what that would be. But if they are ready to turn their exam in, they can click yes. If not, they go back and change any of these answers here if they want to. But if they want to hand it in, they can click yes. And now you'll notice they are not done. They're going to go right back into working in their SPI review or any missing assignments that are shown here. They can certainly work on when they're done with the exam. So that's what it looks like from the student's point of view. All right, let's go back to that teacher screen now and take a look at what kind of data you see when you look through exam that's finished up for your students. Now I'm back on the teacher screen and I'm in the exams option here in the gray column. And this is a test that I created earlier called a Starter 1 exam, where I've had students had time to complete it. You can see that the status is showing here. You can see their exam scores, and keep in mind, you can always order any of the data by clicking on the heading of the columns here. Okay, so you can see it that way. You can order it by their names. There's even these three dots that you can order by first and last, sometimes for grades. That's very helpful if your grade book has that order shown here. So as I'm looking at these, you can see if I order by the status, I have several students who've turned it in. I have a student here who's paused. That just means they got kicked out of their exam. So a simple remedy for them to get back into their exam, as long as you have it available, you have the auto accept turned on, they can access it right from their student menu. I do have students who weren't here or haven't started yet, but these students who I've shown turned in, one of the most important aspects of any exam features in Get More Math is this status has to say graded. Now, there's different ways you can grade an exam. You can grade it individually. If I click on Liv's name here, you can see Liv has one wrong. So it went directly to the one that Liv got wrong. And you can also see that it's marked incorrect here. I could give full credit by clicking on the button here, or I could click the shortcut key F on my keyboard. I could give partial credit. So you can change the grade for students. If they do have the problem correct, you won't have the option. You'll see these are grayed out here. Okay, so you can save grades individually. What will happen then is it'll move on to the next student in the list. Same thing, the student got number 9 incorrect. If I want to give partial credit, I can. You'll notice that the grade changed there, and I can click Save Grade. Now, if I go back to the exams and go back to this exam, Starter 1, you can see there are still lots of students who haven't turned in. Some teachers like to grade individually like that, but you can also grade all of the turned in exams all at once. So if you want to grade them, even though you're not really grading anything, you can always override the grades if you like. But if I click on grade turn in exam, watch the status here change to graded for all of those students. So you'll notice now all of those students that were showing turned in, I grade some of them individually. But if you want to just click on the grade turn in exams, any grades that are showing as turned in for the status, those will show up graded. You can always go back in and change. So if I want to go in here to Mel's got 3 wrong here, but I can go back in and update those grades, give full or partial credit if I'd like to those that were missing. All right. Keep in mind here, you can also print that student's exact exam or practice exam right from there. So that's another feature of the print that's availability that's showing here. And again, you can always print an exam here as well. Okay, so in the starter exam, if a student's status is shown as graded, then that's going to turn on the corrections and follow-ups here that we'll get to in a minute. But the next thing I want to show is how can you look at the data and make some decisions to help your students. So there is a feature here called view analysis. As long as a student's grade is showing here as graded, then if you go to view analysis, you're going to see the students who are most missed and points missed. Now, the difference between them is just the total number of students who missed and then the points that are missed for each one as well. So you can order those columns as needed. They'll be closely related here. So you can see that if I open up any of these are the 5 skills that I had on that exam. If I open up any of these skills, you can see a sample of what it looks like. You can even see the answer, and you can see which students missed that exam problem. Okay, and my favorite part about the view analysis is that you can make this full screen. And now for those few students who might have missed this one, you have unlimited remediation you can do with those students. You can even create a most missed assignment. Or If you're doing cumulative exams, you can also create some problems to do on that cumulative exam as you do later. So let's just say that I pick these three skills because they were the student most missed for students here. So I'm going to click on these three check boxes and I can create an assignment. I'm just going to click, just going to make a most missed from starter exam one. There's always an option to print any assignment. You can change the number of problems, shuffle it up to 3 different versions, so you can generate a PDF from there. Once I click save, now I'm ready to assign it, just like I would any assignment. So you can schedule that assignment. Okay, you can assign it to multiple classes. So those are all options as well. Another fantastic feature of Get More Math is that you can copy the exams from your colleagues or they can copy from you as well. So down at the bottom of this column, you'll see a colleagues in my work option. If you click on it now, any teacher at your school that has created exams, you can copy. So if you want to copy common benchmarks, you certainly can do that. If this is a benchmark exam, I can copy it and now it's here, it's mine. I can make changes as needed, just like you did before you publish. Now I'm back on the teacher screen in the exams feature and I can see the starter one exam. Below that, there's a starter exam one corrections. If I click on the corrections, 2 things that students have to do in corrections. First off, they have to fix the error and they can do additional problems. And you get to set the parameters for that. Maybe you want them to do 1 additional problem or more. That's really up to you. I'm just going to leave it at 1 here for the video's sake. And then if I go back to the exams, notice here there's also a show feature. There's a slider. That just means it's available for students. By default, it will be available. You can turn it off if you don't want students to do corrections, but it is available for them when the slider is on. Now I'm going to go to a student's screen. So this is a student who took the test. The status shows as graded. So now, because of that, there's going to be in available work, there's going to be a corrections for starter one exam. So the student will focus on completing these corrections. Then it will let them know. Okay, so it'll just pop up as letting them see that the correction is still wrong. For example, if I put it in the wrong place, it's not going to allow me to do that. So as I work through the corrections, I finished the corrections. Now I have the extra practice. So these are similar problems to what the student missed on the exam. When they get the problem right, they'll move on to the next one. If they get it wrong, it'll show them. They can make the change, and then they'll give them another one so you can see as the student works. They're going to be leveling up, possibly, depending on how the square and how the skill has been, what level proficiency the skill was showing before. So now we'll finish here. You'll notice the corrections are complete, and now the student is back in working in the spiral review. Okay, so that's how it works from the student's point of view in corrections. Now let's talk about follow-ups and how those are automatically generated as well in Get More Math. One more time, we're back in the exams feature in the gray column. We've talked about the original exam, the corrections, and how it's automatically, the slider is showing here as turned on. But you'll notice in the follow-up, which is generated automatically by Get More Math for each individual student, the follow-up is not showing on the student screen unless I turn on the slider. So now if I go to the student's screen and the status as graded, if they've made at least 1 error in their menu, you will see the follow-up. Okay, if a student clicks on it, remember the nuance here, the student still needs to be given the access to the exam, and they won't have it even if they ask for it here. The message popped up. Okay, now on my screen it says that Bobby would like to begin this exam. I can turn it on individually as students request it, or I can click on the auto accept feature. This slider here is the same slider showing here. If I do move that to the on position, you'll notice that message disappears because now I've given my students, similar to the original exam, now I've given them access. Remember, this is a window of opportunity for your students to get in. You can change that. You're not going to be able to schedule it, but when you are ready for them to have access to the exam or follow-up, then the auto accept can be moved to the on position there. So now if I go back to my student, here is that student who missed 4 problems on the original exam. And here are 4 problems for the student to work on now. So this is the same exact feature here. As the student works through this, maybe we'll get some of these right and some of these incorrect here. Maybe we'll get this one wrong. Um, and then students can, of course, continue to work through these. The student only has to focus on the ones they had wrong because that's what the follow-up created for this student based on how they did on the original exam. So now, once the student is done, they can go back, they can double check their work. When they click hand in, they can go back to that if they are ready to turn it in. Now they go back into Spire Review. So again, once the student is done with their follow-up exam, they're still working to get more math, whether it's on an assignment or in the Spire Review. Okay, now let me show you what it looks like then in your exams. I'm back here in my teacher screen on the exams feature. If I go to the follow-up exam, here's more data, right? And you can see that only one student here so far, Bobby. I'll move him to the top here. So Bobby is finished. It's turned in. If you want to grade it individually, you can. Remember, Get More Math really does the grading for you, but you can save the grade. You can change the grade for anything that was marked as no credit there. So if I'm ready to save that grade, now if I go back to this follow-up, okay, it's going to show as graded here, and you can see the follow-up score. You can see the follow-up grade. You can even see the original exam score. So the beautiful thing about Get More Math is you create the exam that you want, the original exam. Then Get More Math creates the corrections and the follow-up for you. Thank you for watching the video. Now the fun part for you, you get to create exams. So you watch the exam, you can check that off, of course, and then you can create the exams, grade the exams, do all those things, including looking at the data, of course, and maybe making a most missed assignment or something from that so that you can do that for any future tests or cumulative exams that you want to make. And then, of course, corrections and follow-up are a huge and integral part of Get More Math as well. Now, there is a QR code that's showing on the checklist, of course. We just ask that you scan and submit this checklist if you want to be in the drawing to win the $50 Amazon gift cards. We will be giving those away to 10 different teachers. And all you have to do is, like I said, scan that and submit it. You just need to enter your email, and that's it. So, guys, thank you so much for joining today. Hope you found this useful. Please reach out if you have any questions. Use that green chat bubble or email us at support@getmoremath. We're always happy to help. So thanks again for joining and take care. Bye-bye.